Joining us now at the table, María Teresa Kumar, President and CEO of Voto Latino, and Christy Greenberg, MS Now legal analyst, former federal prosecutor, and host of Courtside with Christy Greenberg on YouTube. Thank you both for joining us. I read a lot there, but I think for me, this commission that, frankly, most of us have probably never thought about or even heard of before this week. The president gutting that after the Supreme Court gave him the ability to do so, get rid of folks from independent commissions. I want to read from what the White House said about him firing them. The president and head of the executive branch reserves the right to remove individuals that may not be totally aligned with the important task of securing America's elections and ensuring every legal vote is counted, the White House official said. The Slaughter decision gives the president precedence to do so. Help me understand, how does gutting this commission actually help make America's elections more secure when this was literally their job?
So actually, I'm very familiar with the Election Assistance Commission because we work with them oftentimes at the local level. Yeah. Basically, what they do is they provide assistance in a nonpartisan way to every single state and local election official. So they basically make sure that everybody understands the rules, making sure that they've been trained up, making sure that there's basically turning down the temperature, especially in this moment of increased volatility. And I think it's really important for the American people to understand is that it is a fully bipartisan commission. They are Democrats and Republicans. In this case, he also basically showed the exit to the Republican, but in a nicer way. And I think that everything, when you look at the totality of what is happening in this moment, that he is throwing a tantrum for the SAVE Act, which is trying to prevent disproportionately women and people of color from voting. When you look at what he's weaponizing the DOJ around saying, actually, I want you to go to all 50 states and look at their voter verification. It means that he is not on the road to winning the midterms. That should be the headline. And most politicians, when they're not on the road to winning, they change their tactics, like you so eloquently said. You actually say, okay, what do the people need? They need housing. That's a no-brainer. Let me sign that on. They need to make sure that they need to have access to education. There's a whole roster of things.
Let's deal with the economy, gas prices.
Right, and there's a whole roster of things that he would have to force the hand of the Democrats to come in and sign because they need it too. And instead what he's doing is like, I think I'm going to have a landslide against me, so let me actually alter the rules. And one of the things that we're working on right now as a coalition in voter registration is making sure that people, regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat, go check your voter registration form. Make sure that you have a plan to vote. And the only way we change the direction of the Republicans and Democrats to find a spine in this moment is to flood the voting booth. And that, I think, is what he's afraid of. But that's actually what our charge should be.